As a child, I went to an elementary school which I absolutely loved. When I graduated high school shortly after, the school closed. As a young adult, I was asked to return to the school to direct a haunted house for the town, and I did that for 4 years in a row. During those 4 years, the team and I that created this haunted house had experiences with the paranormal. And following the last haunted house, I had a series of dreams and nightmares revolving around this school.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Corey Ray Steringer, and today I'm back with the finale of my Haunted School series. First off, let me apologize. It took longer to get the finale out than I thought it would take. Just with Thanksgiving and everything, it's been kind of busy with work. But today I don't have work, I don't have to sleep all day, and there's nowhere to be, so finally I'm going to sit down and tell you about my waking experiences that I had in the haunted school. So, the reason I went, because I'm not saying the actual name of the school. But, this isn't going to be just one story. I've had a few different experiences in the school over the years that I did the haunted house. So, I'm not going to go in any particular order. And like I said, one doesn't connect to the other. It just happened over the 4-year span. So, I'm going to start off with... We'll start off with one of the first ones I had, which was the very first haunted house. And we did a haunted school theme. We had about a month to get it set up and organized and everything, so it wasn't the greatest compared to our last three. But, in the one room, we had a classroom scene set up where the evil teacher had her students in there, and she had this great big spider on her desk that was supposed to be like the class pet. Well, in the haunted house, when people went through there, it was sitting on the teacher's desk. Well, at the end of the haunted house, the entire cast of the haunted house was at the other end of the hall so that they could scare people as they were leaving, because we didn't have a huge cast. But when we come back up to the classroom, the spider wasn't on the teacher's desk anymore. It was on one of the kids' desks. And everyone swore that they didn't touch it, that it hadn't moved. Everyone was freaking out because they was like, oh, the ghost moved it, da da da. So that was one of the first experiences we had. So the next one, I think, was the second year that we did it. And at the time, there was a church that had set up in one of the old classrooms of the downstairs of the school. They had their church services and stuff in there. And there was one night, we were walking. To get into the school, you come in through the first floor, obviously. And then you had to go to one end or the other of the hallway to go back upstairs, where the haunted house was. So, we were walking past the classroom they were using for their church services. And whenever I was in school there, that was the old first grade classroom. But we walked by, the room was dark inside, the door was open, but there was no lights or anything on in there. We were the only ones there. We didn't go in the room or anything. But we walked by, and as we did, I just happened to look over, and there was like this black shadow figure that like darted across the room. And at first I thought it was just one of our shadows or something, so I went back and I like walked in front of it again to see if I saw my own shadow, which I didn't. Plus, this was moving so quick, it couldn't have been ours as we was walking by. But, so that was one of the first times I actually saw something in the school. So then, another time, I think it was actually that same year, I was setting up, so we had the haunted house practice the one night, and afterwards, me and one of the other ones that I've known for my whole life stayed after so we could set up for my Halloween party that I was having the next night. And we were in the cafeteria, and we kept hearing all kind of weird noises and stuff. Usually, if you're down there setting up, you do hear all kind of weird noises. So, we were down there setting up, and we kept hearing all kind of weird noises and everything. And she looked at me and told me, because it was almost It was probably getting close to 10 p.m. by this time because we finished the haunted house rehearsal at like 8 or later. And she looked at me and told me, she's like, if we hear one more thing, we are leaving. And about that time, we heard a door slam at the other end of the hallway where the library is. And she's like, oh my gosh, let's get out of here. And I said, no, I want to go down here and see just in case someone snuck in or something. So I walked down to the other end of the hallway, checked all the doors and stuff on that end. Nothing. All the doors were locked that led to the exterior. There was no one there, just us. But we both heard that door slam, and there was no denying that it was a door slamming. But, yeah. So, let me think here. There's a couple other things. There's one major one that I think led into the dreams. I'm saving it for last. I feel like there was still one more thing. Oh, I know what it was. So, I think this was for the third year that we did it. And I was meeting the mayor down at the school so that I could get a key to the back door so that we could go in and out. And some of the kids were going to be meeting me down there too so that we could start setting up some of the bigger stuff. And so I get down to the school, go around to the back where we go into the building, and the mayor's car's there and the back door's wide open. So I just assume, oh, he's here, probably some of the kids are here. So I come in, and this back door was like behind the kitchen of the cafeteria. And I come out the one door, and I go right up towards the library, where we heard the door slam in the last story. And I go walking up those stairs, and whenever the haunted house wasn't going on, they always keep these doors upstairs chained shut. And I don't know if it's to keep people out of there whenever they rent it out, or there's a Head Start class still down at the school, and I don't know if it's to keep them from getting up there. But, I don't know. So I get up to the top of the stairs, and the door's still chained shut. But as I'm walking up the stairs, I can hear a man's voice and kids' voices, like, yelling and stuff as I'm walking up the stairs. And I get up there, and I'm at the doors that are chained shut, and I, like, pull. It's not so tightly chained shut that you can't open them. You can open them about, like, this much of a gap. And I opened it, and I could hear the man's voice and the kids in there yelling. And I'm thinking to myself, oh crap, these kids have come down here and they're already starting something and the mayor's yelling at them. And I was actually even going to call through the crack of the door and say, can someone hand me the key to this lock through the door so I can unlock it? And then I thought, no, they'll think I'm lazy. I'll just walk back down to the other end. So I go back down the stairs and start walking down the hall to the other end where the other staircase is. And as I'm walking down there, I go past the old main office. And the mayor's in there. And he comes walking out, and I'm like, were you just upstairs? And he said, no. And I was like, is anyone else here with you? And he's like, no, it's just me. And I told him what I heard, and we walked back up the other staircase that I hadn't gone up originally, and those doors were still chained shut. So nobody was up there. But I know that I heard a man's voice and kids' voices up there yelling. I don't know. But, and then, well, I'm going to tell this one, it's the most recent thing that's happened because I had my Halloween party down at the school again this year. But the very last story I'm going to tell, I think has a lot to do with these dreams. But anyway, so we were setting up for my Halloween party this year, and it was me and my wife and my little girl and my brother down there. And we were standing there, and I kept hearing this noise out in the hallway. So I walked out in the hallway, and I told them to be quiet, and I stood there. And I heard this whistling noise, which a lot of times when we were doing the haunted house practices and stuff, all of us would hear whistling at some points. And we just assumed it was like air coming through the school somehow, or like the heating registers, I don't know. But whenever I was standing there listening to this, it had like a tune to it. It was like to it. Yeah. So I don't know, but that was creepy. But like I said, we always heard whistles while doing the haunted house, and we just assumed it was like the heating registers or something. But, so now I'm going to talk about the experience I had directly following the last haunted, well, one more. Okay. So the last haunted house, before the one I'm getting ready to talk about, there was another experience I had. The one night we were doing the final haunted house, and I was in the old fourth grade classrooms where my scene was. And I was on one half, and then a girl that's been in it with me since the beginning was on the other half, and we had a tarp up between us to separate the room. Well, as always, all the characters ran to the end of the hallway to scare the people out the door, and then they would go back to their spots for the next group. Well, I walked back into the room where she and I were, and I was on the side she was on, and I looked at the tarp, and I could see that someone was like laying on it. And I was like, come on, get up off the floor. And I like nudged him with my foot, and my foot felt a solid object on the other side of that tarp. Walked around the tarp, there was no one on the floor. No one there, nothing my foot would have hit. I don't know. But it felt like my foot hit a body, and then wasn't, like, the person couldn't have been quick enough to jump up off the floor and run through the closet that led into the next room, because the closets were what we used as like a pathway, because they were straight through closets. So I don't know what that was. My foot touched something. It was a solid object, and there was nothing there when I went around to the other side of the curtain, which only took me 2 seconds. Like, I pulled the curtain back after I kicked it. So now the last story. So I was doing a craft show for the after school program that still takes place there. They were doing like a benefit craft show, and I was one of the vendors. Well, I got down there with some of my artwork, and I realized I forgot a tablecloth, but I knew that there was one upstairs in the haunted house stuff, because this craft show was taking place about 2 weeks after Halloween. So I knew there was one upstairs in the haunted house stuff. I knew exactly where it was. It was in that room where I kicked the object I just talked about, or the person, whatever it was. But it was on the side that the girl was on, and it was in a wardrobe. And so I went upstairs, and I was getting in that wardrobe and got the tablecloth, had it in my hand. And I just had this eerie feeling that someone was watching me. And straight across from the fourth grade room is the girls' bathroom. And as I get this feeling that someone's watching me, I turn around and look from the door of the fourth grade room, which is straight across from the door to the girls' bathroom. And there is this black silhouette, child-sized spirit. Like, didn't have any features or anything. It was just a black silhouette. And as quickly as I saw it, it was just as quickly as gone. And I was, like, scared, but, like, excited at the same time that I had actually seen something. Know for sure that I saw it. It wasn't like the one I saw in the church classroom where it was just so quick. It was like a dash. This was a solid figure that I had seen. And so I was kind of excited about it, and went downstairs and told my cousins, who were set up with a booth too right beside mine and everything, and didn't really, I wrote it down in the journal, and that was about it. Well, shortly after is when all these dreams started up about the school. And the dream that I told, I can't remember which one it was, which video, but the one where we were in the cafeteria and the little shadow child was on the staircase. What it looked like in the dream is what I saw in real life. It was the same thing. But I don't know if seeing that in the school sparked all of these dreams and nightmares that I've had and told you about, or what, but something's had to have, Because I did the haunted house for 4 years in a row. I had some experiences. That was by far the most realistic thing that I had experienced. Like, I saw it, for sure saw it. But I never had any nightmares or crazy dreams about the school the first 3 years that we did this haunted house. And then right after I see this figures when I start having these dreams. So I don't know if it sparked them, what happened. But that's it. That's all the stories I have for my Haunted School series. I want to thank everyone who has stuck through and watched the entire series. For everyone who's been waiting for me to post this last video, I apologize it took me so long. But I don't know. And I've had multiple people during this series come forward and tell me their stories as well. And one of them revolves around the same girl's bathroom where I saw the shadow spirit. My brothers had experiences in the boys' bathroom upstairs, which is right next to the girls' bathroom, whenever he was a kid. And I've just had a couple other people tell me their experiences and stuff. So if anyone wants to share their experiences in the comments of this so other people can see them, feel free to. I don't know, maybe if we get enough of them, maybe I'll do a video sharing some of your stories and all, if you would all be up for sharing that. I mean, I don't usually tell their names, so yeah. But thanks again for watching, thanks for subscribing, and if you haven't yet, make sure you do, and I'll see you all next time. Have a great day. Bye.